Hell has frozen over and pigs are flying because just one day after President Trump's historic win on tax reform, the normally anti-Trump media appears to be actually reporting about how it could be a success and not a world-ending failure that will kill everybody on planet Earth. What a difference a day makes. Let's just check out these headlines. The New York Times says, quote, with tax overhaul, Trump fulfills a campaign promise and flexes Republican muscle. According to the Washington Post, the tax bill is likely to become more popular after passage. Here's how Republicans plan to sell it. And over at CNN, the headline reads, is tax reform a new beginning for Trump and the GOP? Of course, the narrative for the last year has been that Trump's first year has been one giant failure, that he doesn't understand government, and that he's unfit for the Oval Office. But could the president's victory on tax reform begin to change how the media reports on this president? Here to answer that question is media reporter for The Hill, Joe Concha. Is this a new beginning for the media? I'll let you answer that question.
Ooh, it's a one-night stand. I think it's probably how this is going to go. Right?
Let's check tomorrow's headlines.
Yeah, there's always a reflex back to the negative, and that's probably what's going to happen here through some unnamed source of palace intrigue. It's something that was said or done in the Trump administration that no one can prove or disprove. And this year, there was a great Politico morning consult poll. It said 46% of Americans believe that the press is actually making stuff up about this administration. And that goes back to unnamed sources and this over-reliance. Watergate, they were careful, they were sober. They took their time with reporting. Now that's not the case. So to that end, think about what President Trump has accomplished this year, okay? Policy, right. Okay? Judicial appointments, conservatives on the bench. Neil Gorsuch, obviously, with the Supreme Court. Obamacare mandate gone. Tax reform, done. ISIS caliphate, shrank. 70 stock market highs. Jobs at a 17-year, or unemployment at least at a 17-year low, and so on.
Major regulatory rollback, which is one of the reasons that the stock market has been hitting all-time highs and the economy is growing north of 3%.
Right. So that's a pretty big deal. And when we look back at the 2016 election and what voters, the issues that were most important to them, they were economy, jobs, immigration, ISIS, health care. So let's grade, okay? We'll make this interactive. Economy, what do you give them grade?
Right now, based on how the economy is growing and the stock market, he gets an A. Maybe not an A+, an A.
GDP, right. Growing. GDP, consumer confidence.
Optimism, consumer confidence at a 17-year high. Mm-hmm. Small business confidence at a record high. Right,
and not the part-time jobs, but manufacturing jobs. Right. Most importantly, and that in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, that gave him the election. That's very important.
And that's why he won. Quite frankly, we've said this all along. That's why he won. Mm-hmm. He won on the economy.
Absolutely.
Period.
And trade. You can make a case for, right? Jobs, like we just talked about,
right.
17-year low in terms of unemployment. Immigration, border crossings are down spectacularly, but the wall hasn't been built yet. So you could either give them an incomplete or some sort of middle grade.
That's next. That's next,
right, exactly. Again, first year you can only get so many things done. ISIS caliphate.
It's out of Syria, on the run.
Now, ISIS is like a cancer, right? You can take out the tumor, but metastasize in other areas. But for the most part, he said he was going to blow the hell out of ISIS. Successful. Healthcare, F, maybe a D, because you could say that the Obama mandate.
But again, he seems to shoehorn that in there.
Right.
But I think that because everything that the media does, and I'll throw myself in there in some way, is self-serving. So I think with all the fake news, and now there is a success, and they've been reporting about all of his failures and all the things that he's done wrong in the last year, that they have to actually step back and say, we need to be straight on reporting about this. We need to focus on this accomplishment and walk that line, because again, it's their credibility that's on the line, and that's really what they care about. They don't care about President Trump. They don't care about the success of the economy. They only care about their own reputations, and that's why they're doing it.
I don't know if they care about that. I think they care about insulting their audiences. And I think if they start to say anything positive about Trump, you get Jimmy Fallon. And what I mean by that is, remember when Trump went on Fallon and Fallon messed up his hair and everybody said, how could you treat him that way? You humanized him, right? And then he was ostracized from the Hamptons and Manhattan and so on. So at the CNNs and MSNBCs, they know their audience is out there for the negative stuff, not for the positive, and they get the feedback on Twitter. So to say anything positive goes against it. Let me leave you with one final point. Pew ran a great study, and it talked about coverage of Trump. 74% of coverage focuses on Trump's character or his personality, only 26 on policy. If we focused on policy more, because that affects people at home, you would see that this first year was probably a success, probably in the B2B plus range.
They do not want him to be a success. And even when he is a success, they only begrudgingly write about it. And this was so big, they couldn't avoid it. Joe, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Dave.
Thank you so
Merry
much.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I love it.
As you could tell.
I love the jacket. Joe Concha, thank you so much.